Yes. Have you ever seen this thing over here ever?
Yeah, several times.
Well, it turns out that these kind of memes, they're very popular on the internet. They're quite fun, actually. Just stick the next one. I accidentally click on you again. What do you want? Make me your default web browser, please. No. And this one, for example. It's funny,
But
but but it shouldn't. You know why? Because there's actually people working on Internet Explorer and Edge. There's a big team. Imagine you were part of that team. You were working on this tool every day. You're getting paid for building this, and then everyone laughing at conference because of the technologies you're building. That would be kind of sad, like to see that kind of things. And now I want to tell you something, share something with you. These people right here, they're called Sean Larkin and Kenneth. They both work at Microsoft. They don't necessarily know me, but I do know them. I know they're cool people that are doing a great job. Both of them are trying to make a developer ecosystem much better for you to develop your applications. Sean is doing it on Edge, come back, and Kenneth is doing it with code. So go back. So I'll appreciate if the next time you try to make a joke about Internet Explorer or Edge, think about these people and see, instead of, or after laughing, see if there's a way in which you can support them and support the developer ecosystem in general. And in that sense, we also have someone called Lynn Clark. Lynn Clark is part of Mozilla. I believe she works for Mozilla, and she wrote an article called that article, and it's about the Quantum Firefox, the latest version of Firefox as a browser. And it was amazing how fast and how the performance was improved. So again, the general message is that we shouldn't stigmatize these technologies just because they come from a certain provider. Today, we have Miguel, who's going to share some of the information about the latest Firefox browser and how you can use it to build great Angular applications. Miguel is coming all the way from Venezuela.
yeah, he's a Mozilla tech speaker.
And he's going to talk about your browser is your best friend to code with Angular. Please give it up for Miguel Useche.
Good luck.
Yep. Gotcha. There we go. Yes.
Hello, how are you? I'm pretty excited to get back to Medellin. I was here last year and I met amazing people, so I couldn't wait to come back again. So today I'm going to talk to you about how your browser can be your best friend for Angular development. The idea is that you trust more in your browser and use it as a development tool than using like third-party tools that might be not as efficient as a browser. For those who don't know me, my name is Miguel. I'm a Mozilla Tech speaker. It's like usually like a pray about open technologies and web applications. Also, I'm a freelance web developer and a professor at university. I teach in a city that is 1 hour from Cucuta, so I'm pretty close by. I think I had the shortest flight from all the other speakers. So, and yeah, I would like to give an advice about this talk. Is that the content of this talk is oriented to any browser. I'm going to focus a little bit on Firefox, but you can use all the things that I'm talking here in all your favorite browser. The idea is that you use your favorite browser, don't switch to another one. It's just because something doesn't work on it. So let's start. The first thing I would like to talk is about what is a best friend. Usually when we talk about a best friend, is someone who is available for you. Usually the best friends are people who you can call, at midnight and, hey, let's go to party, and they are going to answer. Or, I don't know, my partner broke with me, so, hey, can I talk with you, etc. So they are people who are always in there. Also, I think that the second one is like the most important thing to me, is people that always are with you on your bad moments. So when you have something that is affecting you or, something really bad, it's always there to help you. Also, I think the best friends should be trustworthy. So it means that you can share your biggest secrets, And usually you know that they are not going to use them to hurt you or to tell it everybody. So are people who you trust all your life on it. And also it makes your life happier. So usually I think that most of us could agree that this is like a list of features that a best friend should have. Also, I'm going to share a little story, how I discovered that the browser was my best friend. It's a real life story. Usually, like most pretty cool stories, starts a Friday night. I was in a dance club, trying to dance salsa with a girl. As most developers, I don't have any rhyme, so. And then the worst case scenario for a developer happened. I received a call from my boss, and immediately when I saw that it was my boss, I knew that something happened because I knew that my immediate boss, let's say the project manager, was in a flight to another country, so if he couldn't reach him, he couldn't reach him, so he called me, so I knew immediately that something was wrong. It was because someone uploaded a bug into an application, and by coincidence, the CEO of the company was using the app, and he could even log in. So it was a really, worst nightmare Friday night. And then I knew that I have to be like the savior. Right? I was the only capable to fix that very quickly. But the problem is that I was very far from home or from the office. So it was I need like a better option than that. So I felt like Tom Cruise, not because I was pretty dancing. It's because I was assigned like a mission impossible. I had to fix that as soon as possible. So in Venezuela, usually in some places, there are like small computers, so people can go to the bank website, bank account website, and do wire transfers on them. So when I saw one of those, I knew, hey, I can use that as a tool. So I started using, like, if I don't have any idea how to use a computer, like the average user, oh, I forgot this, just to gain time to use the developer tools from the browser. And then I finally could search for the bug, fix it, and by coincidence, well, the source code was hosted on GitLab, so I could edit the source code in the web and edit and do the commit. And then I could save the night. I felt like this guy. I failed the company. I saved the company, and then I could go back to dancing with the girls. So it was a happy ending story. But I discovered that the browser was my best friend because it's like the previous list. First, it's always available. The browser is a browser installed on any computer or even on any device. So you know that if a device has access to internet, it's pretty much that it has a browser. Also, they are trustworthy. Usually, we trust our digital life in the browser. We put credit card's number, we write the passwords, and you know that it's not someone is going to steal it, or it's a pretty robust application. And usually, like Juan said before, I think that one of the best developers in the world usually work on browsers. Usually, the browsers are made by pretty good developers. Also, most browsers have tools to develop websites, so you have all the basic tools that you needed. And if you use those tools, like a pro, it will make your life happier. That's what the topic of this talk. So how the browser can help me to some Angular development. So I'm going to show like a small problems that we have. Usually when we start working with Angular, that's the usual way we do. We write code, execute the helper tool like Angular CLI, change the browser, refresh the changes. But usually that's boring, it's not productive and repetitive, so it's not the recommended way to do that. Also, usually when you use editors, sometimes when you are working with cutting-edge technologies, most editors doesn't have support for them. So it's like it sucks that you have to in an editor and sometimes say, no, this is wrong. And you know that it's not wrong, it's just it's the new spec of the technology. And there is no browser interaction. Usually you code and you have to change the browser to see the results. And sometimes the support comes late, like I don't know, 1 year later after the spec has been defined, it goes to the editor. Also, this is when I would like to focus. The feedback, usually we make our beautiful app, and then when the users start using it, we see like, hey, my application is slow. My application doesn't work for a specific user. I mean, you have passed all the unit tests, functional tests, multiple people review it, and somehow it was a problem with a specific user. Or sometimes people say, hey, my device feels like heavy when I use your app. So usually we have these kind of problems. I don't know if you have heard them, but if not, well, you have been living so happy for now. Yeah, I guess most of you have experienced these kind of issues. And I can tell you that most of these can be ignored. You can avoid them by using the browser. So I would like to talk to you about some tools that you can use for your Angular development. I'm going to focus on Firefox Quantum Developer Edition. Something that I recommend you for all developers is to use the development version of your browsers. For example, Google Canary, Safari Text Preview. I think the Edge is the same name. I don't remember right now. And for Firefox, you can use the developer edition because those browsers are made for developers. And usually they include the latest technology that the stable version doesn't have. Also, for example, in Firefox, it's 15 weeks ahead of the stable version. That means that you can discover or you can see how websites will behave 15 weeks ahead of the average user. For example, I think in Google, like 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, now notifies that when you are not using SSL in your website, it notifies you that this is an insecure website. And many developers didn't know that because sometimes people don't read the news, or it's hard to get on all that is happening in technology. But if you use this browser, you have like you can notice 15 weeks ahead. Oh, this is going to happen, so I have to, to fix everything fast. So the first tool I would like to show you are Firefox screenshots. Let's see if the video is playing. Let me see. Okay. So what you have to do is now you can, for example, inspect an element, and you can just take a screenshot from there, or you can take like a screenshot from any part of the website. Many people trust in your OS operating system screenshot tool, but usually these are more powerful in the browser because you can see what it's real rendering, and you can select it. Now, another cool thing is that on Firefox you can upload it to a service called send.firefox.com, and you can share like a link that it will auto-destroy in some kind of, 1 week, 1 day, etc. So you can share like delicate content to customers, to any other co-workers. And the cool thing is that this is encrypted, so nobody's going to access to your information. So it will save you time. Also, there is a Scratchpad and JS editor. Nowadays, Scratchpad is the Firefox name. Usually it's the JS editor in most browsers. And the cool thing is that you can edit the source code on real time, so you can alter the way that our website behaves. So, and also, like this is an example. This is an example made on Angular. It doesn't have the HTTP service. So what he does is go to the editor and he'd start, loading injecting the service on real time. So you can, alter the behavior of the website on real time. For example, in my story, that's how I fix the bug, because I could use this editor to add the new code and test it and run it. The cool thing is that you don't need to change any files. So you can just test it in real time, save it, and if you have like an automated tool, it can run Angular CLI and update all the things. Also, this is also like you can notice that that's why you have to make your app very secure, because someone can do like this, inject any kind of code or load any service and modify your application and even hack it. So it's a pretty cool tool to see all the changes in real time and using all the cutting-edge technologies. Also, the performance panel. Usually, when people say that your application feels slow and you don't know what to do, this is the first thing you have to do. You just open the performance tool, start recording like a new profile, and then you can, for example, in this example, you can reload the website and do some actions, and everything will be recorded. And as you can see here, you can see like the graph that it's telling you how many frames per second it's showing, the browser it's doing. So you can see where are the bottlenecks. And then after you stop recording, you can get a list of what's going on. So you can see, if I click on that specific action, it will make all affect the DOM, and somehow will force like a new, reflow, etc. So it's going to make the app slower. So it's a pretty cool tool to test. Also, memory panel. Sometimes when you feel like your application is heavy and has a lot of, it's feeling slow, you just take like a real-time snapshot. It's like you just take a snapshot, and it's going to show you all the memory that it's being used by your app. For example, you can see all the objects, all the services, controllers, even the strings that your application has, and how the calls, because sometimes, I don't know, if you do something wrong, you can store the functions like multiple times in the memory. So it's pretty cool to see. You can organize by visual theme, etc. Also, you can use it to learn how frameworks behave or how any external libraries work, because you can see how it works in memory and the things that you can, how it works. Also, this also tool that I recommend you is Repaint Viewer. So what it does is, this is my Facebook timeline, and once it's active, it changes the color of everything that it's painted. For example, if you click on the notification, you can see what's being repainted by the browser. So you can check that you are not forcing the browser to repaint something that it shouldn't do. So it's really easy to do. You just see what has changed, and you can use it to test your app. Also, the debugger, I think that if you usually do console.log, any variable or console.log, that's not the correct way to debug your code. The correct way is to use these kind of tools that you can see the values of your variables, you can see the scopes, the calls, etc. In this example, you can even add like a condition, because sometimes you don't want to break on any condition, just only on your desired condition. Also, as academic, I recommend you to use the debugger to learn how everything works internally. For example, you can debug how Angular core behaves and how are the methods that it has, what are the values, so you can learn also how everything works under the hood. This web IDE is a technology that you can have like a full IDE on your browser. But what I would like to show you is that you can do a remote debugging. You can inspect or debug any other device, not just your local browser, just something on internet. Currently, this is done to a plugin. And as you can see the demo, for example, you can open Firefox and you can connect to that Chrome application. And you can start debugging and see the CSS or even the JavaScript code, which is pretty cool because it can be any browser or any other device. So if you have any problem, sometimes you don't like any other browser and you lose time by doing things. So with this, it's really, really cool to do. If you need any more tools, you can just expand by installing any add-ons and extend all the basic functionalities. Also, I would like to resume what the browser is your best friend. Usually because it's installed on any computer, you can check the work on real time. You don't need to modify any files. They support the latest technology. And it makes you happy because usually simplifying your work is going to make you happy. I recommend you the documentation from each browser. Use your favorite browser and learn all the things that you can, to save you time and you be an expert on one browser. Then you can connect to another one later. And yeah, that's it. That's my email. I recommend to follow NG Venezuela on Twitter. We usually share Angular content on, we try to do it in Spanish, but most Spanish content is made by Laura. And it's almost like Laura retweeting. But if you don't want to follow multiple Angular accounts, just follow NG Venezuela, and that's it. And to end the talk, I just want to recommend you to follow Mozilla Colombia. They are recruiting new volunteers in the country because all volunteers, they are occupied with their lives, so they need like a new generation to follow and to start the Mozilla movement here in Colombia. So if you are interested, you can search me after the talk, and I'll be glad to help. So yeah, that's it. So hope you like it.
Well done. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel.
Yes.